Welcome to Groundhog News. This is the weather. We are expecting a cloudy day when the Lord arrives. Ezekiel 30.3. Groundhog weather reporting. Cloudy with a chance of manipulation. Cloud is in there 147 times. Reading's going to be a minute. Cloud is a part of a covenant, Genesis 9:13. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of the covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. Okay. This study, I worked really hard on it, separating these clouds, quotes, into amazing categories. Now, some people were under the clouds. Most people were under the clouds, but there were some people up in the clouds. Okay? So 1 Corinthians 10:1. Moreover, brethren, I would not ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. Ezekiel 30.3. For the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near. It will be a day of clouds, a day of doom for the nations when the heathens take over. Zephaniah 1:15. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Ezekiel 34:12. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them on a day of clouds and darkness from all the places where they were scattered. Ezekiel 30:18. At Tehaphnes also the day shall be darkened when I shall break there the yokes of Egypt, and the pomp of her strength shall cease in her. As for her, a cloud shall cover her, and her daughters shall go into captivity. Now, clouds being as part of God. Nahum 1:3. The Lord is slow to anger, great in power, and will not acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Job 22:14. Thick clouds are a covering to him, he that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. Read that all for context. Leviticus 16:2. The Lord said to Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat which is upon the ark, that he die not, for I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Revelation 10:1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was on his head, and his face as it were the sun, and his feet pillars of fire. This next section is clouds known to be traveling devices. Psalms 104:3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Exodus 34:5. The Lord descended in a cloud and stood with him there, proclaimed the name of the Lord. Mark 13:26. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, great power and glory. Mark 14:62. Jesus said, I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of the power and coming in the clouds of heaven. Luke 9:34. While he thus spake, there came a cloud and overshadowed them, and they feared as they entered into the cloud. Entered into the cloud. That's Luke 9:34. Deuteronomy 31:15. The Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud. And the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. Exodus 24:18. Moses went into the midst of the cloud and gat him up to the mount. Moses was in the mount 40 days, 40 nights. Exodus 19:9. And the Lord said to Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. Matthew 17:5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice came out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Matthew 24:30. And they shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and glory. Daniel 7:13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Luke 21:27. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great authority. Acts 1:19. When he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. 1 Corinthians 10:2. All were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. 1 Thessalonians 4:17. And then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Revelations 11:12. They heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld it all. Revelation 14:14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud sat one like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. So a cloud is something that you could sit on. Revelation 14:15. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Matthew 26:64. Jesus said to him, Thou hast said, Nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. Clouds with voices. There was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. Luke 9:35, same thing, came a voice out of the cloud, This is my beloved Son, hear him. Exodus 13 talks about the pillar of a cloud some more. The Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, and to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. And the Lord came down in a cloud and spake upon him, and took the Spirit that was upon him and gave it to the 70 elders. And it came to pass that when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. It says the psalmists use the cloud to describe a divine canopy. we have some weather-related events. Ezekiel 32:2. When I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. ECC 11:3. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves. Job 38, can thou lift up the voice to the clouds? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Job 38:37. The cloud poured out water. Psalm 77:17. Who can number the clouds? Job 38:37. 2 Peter talks about clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. They are wells without water. Mist of darkness is in there. How about Jude 1:2, talking about spots in the feast of charity, where they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear, eating the donations. They are clouds without water, carried about of winds and trees, whose fruit withered, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Ezekiel 1:28, as the appearance of the bow that's in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face and heard a voice of one that spake. Job 38:9, made the cloud the garment thereof, thick darkness, swaddling band for it. Clouds which are higher than you, Job 35:5. Clouds drop and distill upon man abundantly, Job 36:28. Cloud for a covering, fire to give light in the night, Psalm 105:39. Mercy is great above the heavens, and truth reaches to the clouds, Psalms 108:4. We have Luke 12:54. You should read the whole thing in context, but it says, when you see a cloud rise out of the west, straightway you say that there's a shower coming, and so it is. Exodus 14, the rout of the Egyptians. The Egyptians followed in pursuit after them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen in the midst of the sea. But during the watch, just before dawn, the Lord looked down from a column of a fiery cloud upon the Egyptian army and threw it into a panic. And so he clogged their chariot wheels, that they could drive only with difficulty. With that, the Egyptians said, let us flee from Israel, because the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. That version was probably the Message. It talks about being a bright light, being in the clouds, Job 37:21. I mean, some clouds are definitely lighter than others. Establishing the clouds above. At the same time, he strengthens the fountains of the deep. That's Proverbs 8:28. The cloud is not rent under them. Job 26, he bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. Job 26, he holdeth back the face of his throne and spreadeth his cloud upon it. Ask ye of the Lord rain in the time of the latter rain, so the Lord shall make bright clouds and give them showers of rain to every one grass in the field. Pillar of the cloud is in there. Clouds on the mount. That's in there. Man-made clouds, talking about burning of the incense. Numbers 9. If a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Passover unto the Lord, according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. Ye shall have one ordinance both for the stranger and for him that was born in the land. And on the day that the tabernacle was reared up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of testimony, and at even there was upon the tabernacle as it were the appearance of fire until the morning. And so it was always. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And when the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle, then after that the children of Israel journeyed, and the place where the cloud abode, there the children of Israel pitched their tent. At the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed, and at the commandment of the Lord they pitched. As long as the cloud abode above the tabernacle, they rested in their tents. And when the cloud tarried long upon the tabernacle many days, and the children of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and journeyed not. And so it was, when the cloud was a few days above the tabernacle, according to the commandment of the Lord, they abode in their tents, and according to the commandment of the Lord they journeyed. And so it was, when the cloud abode from even unto the morning, that the cloud was taken up in the morning, and they journeyed, whether it was by day or by night, that the cloud was taken up, they journeyed. And whether it were 2 days or a month or a year that the cloud tarried upon the tabernacle, remaining thereon, the children of Israel abode in their tents, journeying not. But when it was taken up, they journeyed. Okay, so they were following a cloud. Numbers 10, I don't want to read the next chapter, but overview on clouds, but 10:11 says, came to pass on the 20th day of the second month in the second year that the cloud was taken up off the tabernacle of the testimony, and the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paharan. And then later, the cloud of the Lord was upon them by days when they went out of their camp. The Lord came down in a cloud, Numbers 11:25. He spake to them, and he took the spirit that was upon him and gave it to the 70 elders. And it came to pass that when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied, and they did not cease. Numbers 12:10, the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous. I can read the whole story for context. Clouds dropped water, Judges 9:24. Darkness, pavilions round about him, dark waters, thick clouds. That's 2 Samuel 22. Morning without clouds is 2 Samuel 23. Clouds filling the temple of the Lord, that's in there quite a bit. Some people, the priests couldn't even stand it. And it says in 1 Kings, it's in there at 1 Kings 8. The priests couldn't stand to minister for this cloud. The glory had filled the house of the Lord. It was incense. 1 Kings 18 talks about a little cloud that came out of the sea. Heaven being black with clouds, 1 Kings 18:45. The house was filled with a cloud, 2 Chronicles 5:13. Cloudy pillar by day, fire at night to give them the way, Nehemiah 9:12. We got we have what reaches the clouds, his strength. Psalm 68:34, ascribe ye strength unto God, his excellency is over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds. Psalm 78:14, in the daytime he led them with a cloud. Psalm 78, though he had commanded the clouds from above, and he opened the doors of heaven. ECC 11:4. He that observeth the wind shall not sow. He that regardeth, or maybe observeth the clouds, shall not reap. As a message, King of Babylon, bright morning star, you have fallen from heaven. In the past you conquered nations, but now you've been thrown to the ground. You were determined to climb up and ascend to heaven to place your throne above the highest stars. You thought you would sit like a king on that mountain in the north where the gods assemble, and you said you would ascend to the tops of the clouds and be like the Almighty, but instead you've been brought down to the deepest part of the world of the dead. How about Isaiah 44:22? I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return to me, for I have redeemed thee. Isaiah 60:8. Who are these that fly as a cloud, as the doves to their windows? Lamentations. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud, and in his anger cast down from heaven unto earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayers should not pass through. Lamentations 3:44. We have some fiery clouds. Ezekiel 1:4. I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud with fire enfolding on itself. And the brightness was about it. Out of the midst of thee was the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So it was a pillar of cloud that they were following by day, and a pillar of fire by night. That's in there a couple times. Deuteronomy 5, the Lord spake unto these words, the Lord spake unto your assembly in the mount, out of the midst of the fire of the cloud, out of the midst of the fire of the cloud, and in the thick darkness with a great voice, and he added no more, and he wrote them in 2 tables of stone, and delivered them unto me. Sounds like the 10 Commandments receiving. Clouds in the temple, house was filled with a cloud, court was filled with the brightness of the Lord's glory, Ezekiel 10:4. Cherubims stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court, Ezekiel 10:3. The Lord's people were scattered in a cloudy and dark day. Morning cloud is in there. Hosea 6:4 and Hosea 13:3. Cloud of witness is in there, Hebrews 12:1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Here's a message from Joel 2. The day approaches. Blow the horn in Zion. Sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming. Yes, it approaches. A day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds, like dawn spreading over the mountains, a vast and mighty army. Nothing like it has ever happened in ages past, nor will the future hold anything like it, even to the most distant generations. Before it, fire devours. Behind it, flame scorches. The land before it is like the Garden of Eden, and behind it a desolate wilderness. From it, nothing escapes. Their appearance is as that of horses, like war horses they run. Like the rumble of chariots, they hurtle across mountaintops, like the crackling of a fiery flame, devouring stubble, like a massive army in battle formation Before them, peoples tremble. Every face turns pale like warriors. They run like soldiers. They scale walls, each advancing in line without swerving from the course. No one crowds the other. Each advances on its own track. They plunge through the weapons. They are not checked. They charge the city. They run upon the wall. They climb into the houses, through the windows. They enter like thieves. Cut.